Hello everyone, I'm Conquering History Games and welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to be showing you in a pseudo Let's Play fashion how to get the Viking Uma achievement as an actual Viking in Crusader Kings 2. There are easier ways to get this achievement that usually just involve being a Muslim, usually a tribal leader, and then getting the Norse culture, and then doing the settle mechanic. You could do it pretty fast that way, but I thought I would also take this opportunity to show you one of my favorite characters who I am going to be playing later on in a Let's Play, which should be coming out. And then, when's the first episode going to come out? Next, definitely within the next week and a half, I would say. So, excuse me, I had some spicy food. So keep an eye out for that. So what character is it that I am playing exactly? We are Haysten of Retz, one of my favorite characters in Crusader Kings 2. He's over here in northwest France, slightly south of the kingdom. I don't think it's not a kingdom, but no, yeah, it's a kingdom here. No, petty kingdom still, of Brittany. So we're going to be playing as him, and he's an extremely flexible character. But oh, you know what? I am so sorry. I just realized that I haven't actually explained what the terms of the achievement are. So to get Viking Uma, you have to have a capital province that is of Norse culture and the Muslim religion. To be more specific, you have to be a non-heresy, so Sunni, Shia, Ibadi, those are the main ones, in order to get the achievement. So Haysten here, I really enjoy as a flexible character because he is a Germanic pagan with feudal government, so you don't have to spend time in 867 getting him to transfer over. You don't have to reform yet. And you can take this guy all sorts of places. So what we're going to do with him today is invade the Umayyads, although technically it would probably be easier if you just came down here to Idrisid. Because, as you can see, everything here, except for I think this province. Yeah, this province is Catholic, but otherwise, all of this territory down here is already Muslim. And whenever you do a prepared invasion, which is how we are going to take the land in this episode today, prepared invasions will convert one county in the territory that you've taken automatically to your culture, so it'll automatically become Norse culture, and then you can switch to it easy peasy lemon squeezy. But I personally prefer to go after the Umayyads because, as I'm sure many of you are aware, the Umayyads will periodically, excuse me, not periodically, regularly quickly defeat Asturias and Navarra and just start blobbing hardcore into Europe until it's crusade time. At which point, even then, it's very hard to dislodge them. So by going after the Umayyads, it's fun to cripple them early, and lets Western Europe develop, and Asturias as well, and Iberia becomes a real free-for-all. So this is the most important part of getting the achievement. You're going to come down here to Sultan Muhammad, right-click him, and take the Prepare Invasion decision. So the way the Prepare Invasion decision works, for those of you who are not aware of it, it's very simple. What you have to do is you have 2 years from when you take the decision to invade the selected country. When you want to do that, you will, of course, right-click the portrait, right-click the portrait of the leader of the company, pick Declare War, and then you will choose which kingdom within their territory that you want to grab. This mechanically works a bit different from the, for example, invasion caused by Bell you can get is if you have the Blood of Alexander that you could use once in a lifetime. When you use the Blood of Alexander, you select an area that you're invading, but you will then get to keep every county whose top holding you have occupied, regardless of what was initially fought over. So, for example, if I had the Blood of Alexander, I would have to take every single county within this kingdom's top holding in order to actually receive every single county within the kingdom. Oh, cool. Got a new subscriber. I don't know if you guys heard that jingle. So, with prepared invasions, whatever you decide to invade, you will always receive all of it at the end of the war, as long as you hit, whenever you hit 100 war score. So, for example, let's say we took Lisbona here and Evora, and then we were fighting the Umayyads, and we defeated them in enough battles that we hit 100, and we forced the surrender. Even though we've only occupied 2 counties, all of this would be received by your character. Now, where prepared invasions can become amazing for land grabs is when you start to occupy places outside of it. Now, you usually are going to want to occupy at least 1 county inside of your kingdom, because there's going to be the ticking war score that's very annoying in favor of the defender. But let's say I came down here, and this is probably what I am going to do. We occupy Lisbon, and then I took Salamanca, Anguarda, just all these counties up here as well, and nothing else within the kingdom border. We hit 100 war score, we end the war, we will receive everything in the kingdom as well as these 4 counties. So that's how you can get a pretty geographically big area. Of course, there's pros and cons to these sorts of things because, well, if we look at the religion map, it's Catholic and Sunni. We are Germanic, so we're going to have even more people who are not of our culture we have to deal with, although there are solutions to that later. Same thing with the cultures. You're going to be dealing with people who are of different culture than you. And again, I'll explain how you deal with that in what's going to be the later part of this video. So the prepared invasion is all you basically have to do, except we're going to, and the reason why, we're going to let some time pass here until we get a certain event. There it is. Large numbers of adventurous warriors have arrived from all corners of your realm, hoping to join your great expedition against Sultan Muhammad of the Umayyad Sultanate. So as you can see here, outside of the troops that you, outside of the 40 ships and the 1,716 men that you begin the game with, you now have an additional, already by February, 537 troops and another 10 ships. Also, the ships are always more than you need to carry the troops, so they'll also be able to carry your personal domain levies as well as the levies of your vassals. So it's a very, very, very powerful mechanic, prepared invasions. Of course, there are other limitations that come with it. I'm going to link in the description, and I'll try to remember to also pin it in a comment, how the ratio of how many men you receive during a prepared invasion works, because it has to do with how strong that you are compared to your prepared invasion target, and I don't want to get into all the details of that right now, so I'll just link that in the description below, and if I haven't, somebody comment and remind me when this goes up. Alright, so what we're going to do now is we're just going to start fast forwarding, and I'm actually going to do a cut until we get to the time for the invasion, but there's just a couple of things I want to point out that you could do that could make things a little bit easier for you. As far as choosing an ambition goes, becoming exalted among men is fun, but I like to go for make a friend. It's just something you can pretty easily do, because later on we're going to be joining a society. In terms of focus, this is a little trickier. I've seen screenshots from people where Heiston lives into his 70s and his 80s. I see it pretty often. But in my personal experience, he gets very sick a lot of the time, and he's usually dead in his 50s, really less than 10 years from the start of the game, at least in my personal experience. So you may want to take one of these focuses that increases his health. However, I think when you play Heiston, you got to sprint out as quickly as possible and grab what you can. You do already have an heir, so there's not a ton of pressure if you die, although he himself doesn't have an heir, of course. But what I'm saying is I like to go for war. It gives you additional martial, so he goes up a bit more. Oh, it's weird, right? I think I just have to unpause. But your personal combat skill is also going to go up, and that's really useful because you are going to be joining the Wolf Warriors. And you have to do a lot of duels whenever you are in the Wolf Warriors. The first one doesn't matter too much. I think the worst you can get is something like a Black Eye. Things that only will take away about a quarter of your overall health. So it doesn't even matter, and really it doesn't even matter if you lose, because if you lose, they'll just say, "Oh, you're so brave because you fought even though bravely in your loss." So don't worry about it too much. But the Wolf Warriors, depending on how long your character lives, can get access to some really terrific abilities, things like war sacrifices, inspiring warriors and stuff. And if you get all the way up to being a hero, you can be very, very strong indeed with your military aspects and things like that. Having said that, we're going to do a cut, and I'm going to come back before the invasion. See you in a second. Okay, we're back now. So there's a couple of things that I deliberately did not do because I wanted to show you that this is an invasion that could still very easily be pulled off even when you're not playing in an optimum way. For example, I did not have any of my troops, particularly the event ones, go off raiding anywhere to get extra money. If you do that, you could very easily... oops, wrong tab. You could easily, if they're not, if they haven't been taken, and usually nobody takes them this early in the game because nobody can afford them, but you can pick up the Victor brothers. The Irish band will about 95% of the time be available. We are gonna hire them once the war begins. Another thing that I did not do is I did not commission runestones. I did not search for smiths. I did not hold a great blot. All of those things make things a bit easier for you generally. Although I would recommend if you're going to do the Great Blot, then you should be raiding and having some prisoners that you can execute during the blot. It's just going to give you additional bonuses, so you might as well take advantage of that. You'll also notice it's July of 1868. I'm not taking things right up until the deadline, mostly because I have a lot of bad experiences. Heiston dying so young, so he'll sometimes die during the war, even if he doesn't have a war wound or something. He just gets consumption out of nowhere, or he's fatigued, and next thing I know he's infirm, and it just gets really bad. So I like to speed things up a little bit. Now we're just going to start the war. Come down here, declare war. You can go for Valencia, you can go for Navarre, you can go for Badajoz. I personally like to go for Badajoz, but it doesn't really matter which one you take. Well, I suppose it does sort of matter because I think there's a couple more Sunnis over here in Valencia. But I'll show you in a second here why I particularly enjoy going after. Wait, whoops. Hire the Irish. See, and as you can see, you have tons and tons of money to pay the Irish band, even if you have not been raiding. So all too easy. Of course, you are going to eventually run out of that money, but they're gonna be dying off, and you could try to split them off, have them do their own thing. That's another strategy you could possibly do, is just have the Irish band out besieging holdings and not dealing with the main Umayyad army. And then whenever they run out, that they go away. Whatever, it's fine. Or put them in the front lines and fights, things like that. So, as I was saying, what I like to do when I'm fighting the Umayyads is I first like to grab some sort of county inside of the kingdom that I'm fighting them in. So we've done that. Usually by then, and it seems that they're not doing that, we're going to see if they're heading up here to Retz, because sometimes they go and counter siege my personal holdings. I've tested this a few times. It seems to be a bit of a crapshoot, no real way to tell. After I've done that, though, I will usually... Actually, no, we're not going to go north. We are going to go east. I like to go outside of the de jure kingdom and begin taking additional counties. So, for example, we're going to come down here. You could, of course, split yourself up into even smaller units of troops. In fact, I'll even do that. But it's really... you're kind of playing with fire a little bit because you don't know when the Umayyads are going to come in. You're going to sometimes get missions that you're asked to do by the Wolf Warriors. You're going to be ignoring those for the duration of the war. Also, I have not set any of my people to do anything. Having said that, though, I do recommend you suppress the revolts in your capital. I should have done that earlier. I kind of forget to a lot, but there is a lot of randomness that comes with a heist-in game, but the one thing that will absolutely kill you almost every time is if you get the Brittany Liberation Revolt. It's horrible. I've seen them spawn with almost 10,000 troops, and they're always super high quality. I remember I once had a game, I was just playing on my own, and I was getting so frustrated because I couldn't defeat the revolt. I actually console commanded myself money to hire the mercenaries indefinitely, and it was still not enough to defeat them. And I had access to a third mercenary company at that point too. The Brittany Revolt is a complete killer to a heist-in game, so you want to make sure you're suppressing those revolts. So All right, we have victory here. There they are. Yeah, they're usually going to counter siege, although they will sometimes head on south. So, or head on north, I should say, or they'll come directly at your armies. Now, one of the things that I personally like to do whenever I'm going after the Umayyads is I love to grab Cordoba. It's Cordoba from them because it's a really great area. Of course, Lisbon is good as well. That also has the 6 holdings. There's a lot of 6 holdings in Iberia. There's one out here. Yeah, Barcelona's one, for example. But I personally really like to grab Cordoba from them if I get the chance. And then once I've done that, then I go after their armies. So another thing that I should say about their armies is they have this really, really annoying habit of having really good commanders, but of also consistently replenishing themselves. So, but as you can see, let's say if we were at 100% now, the way that this would work is I would get Badajoz here, and I would also have these 4 counties in central Iberia. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to have another cut, and then I'm going to come back when I'm at 100 war score. Because as you can see, we're clearly in control here. We've got still about almost 11,000 men available, even though we've occupied all the areas. We're probably just going to destroy this army. That always spikes the war score really quickly. And really, for me, the way I play, I do like to grab as much clay as possible, but the Umayyads, as I've said, have this nasty habit of continuously reinforcing at a faster than normal rate, it seems. If I have Cordoba and 100 war score, I'll just peace out, even if I don't have everything I want. I'll just fight them again later for it. Anyway, we'll do a cut, and I'll come back when it's at 100 war score. Alright, and we're back. So this is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. So we have 4,600 Umayyad soldiers here in Badajoz about to take this holding again. I still outnumber them. I still could code down, but the thing is, I've tested this enough that I know that they're going to keep reinforcing. It's going to get really annoying. And I have a pretty damn sizable chunk of their territory that's in my hands, including Cordoba. I took Granada. I'm all the way in Seville. This is great. This is a really good scenario. Now, I personally don't usually like to go for these northern ones because, as you can see, there's some holy wars going on, or at least I think it's a holy war. Yeah, it's a holy war that's going on in this section here in the north, and I don't like to mess with the Asturians if I can avoid it, just because it becomes a real pain fending them both off. You usually are going to have to anyway, but why force yourself to do it? And frankly, these lands are just not as valuable as some of the stuff that you can get down here in south central Iberia. So what we're just going to go ahead and do is offer peace. And there you have it. That's a pretty dang big, rets at the moment. So you should still have a bit of money left over. Let's get our guys in here and dismiss them real quick. Okay. Whoops, not what I meant to do. Hold on. Okay. Fuse and okay, these are all wow. Okay, coincidentally, those were all special event troops. These ones are not though. Make sure that we actually properly dismiss the Irish. Yes. Okay. So, the prepared invasion is over. You're going to lose a lot of your forces. Now, if we look at the culture, you will see we have a Norse capital. It's not our capital yet, but we have a Norse culture area. It's gonna be random. Don't fret about it. You could wait until you convert something else, but whatever this capital is, it's also going to be your native religion. So it just sort of screams, "Hey, turn me into your capital." And since we're strictly going for the achievement here, we're going to go ahead and do that. So that was the easy part. Now, one of the reasons that I also like to go for Cordoba is that you usually will be able to take some Muslim prisoners. So if we go through here, as we can see, we have plenty of Muslim prisoners available for us to use. Because we are Germanic pagan, we are able to take them as concubines. So what I like to do, we go to our realm, search in prison, women, and then sort by dynasty. I like to see if I manage to snap. Why is the dynasties not loading? Oh, she's lowborn. Okay, I didn't this time, but sometimes you'll actually snag an Umayyad, and you get to really rub some salt in the Sultan's wound because you're banging his sister or something. We're going to go ahead, though, and take her as a concubine. So once you have done that, and she doesn't have a choice because she's your prisoner, you can convert to her Sunni faith. Now, this is not strictly necessary for you to yourself be Sunni, but it just makes everything a lot easier in general. You got the brand new interface now. All right, next up, you are going to want to create one of these kingdoms. So let's do, it doesn't really matter. We'll create this duchy. We will also do, yeah, we can't afford that, but we now can borrow money from the Jews because we're Muslims, so we'll do that. Again, this is just for the purposes of speeding things along here. We'll create Lisboa, and then we can create the Kingdom of Badajoz just as soon as we have 280 gold, which is not going to take very long because you're not doing anything else. So, you've probably noticed by now your personal domain is 62. You actually do, in fact, own everything here. Well, not the ones that are that were inside the de jure kingdom, because you didn't occupy those holdings. So, like for example, Badajoz here, I did occupy, so you did get the underling holdings. This is that give and take as to strategies. I personally like to go for top county holdings, and we deal with the rest later. They do still belong to you. It's not as if you do not take the land inside the prepared invasion kingdom, it's going to remain part of the Umayyads or something like that. And boy, I actually kind of really am loving how split up they are. They're basically in 4 sections, and they're getting effed up by Asturias. Would have been nice to get these two, though. It would be a little prettier. Anyway, what was I saying? So, now that you are yourself a Norse Muslim, this is really good for a long-term game. You can go ahead and make several new vassals, and whenever you make these new vassals, whoops, as you see, they will also be Norse Sunni Muslims in this case. So it's a great way to suddenly get your hands on a lot of people that are going to be available to give these personal domains to. Then, of course, another thing that you're going to want to do is you want to talk to your vassals. The cutoff seems to usually be 40. I think, yeah, 40 and up. They will listen if you ask them to change their religion. So, for example, this guy, he had a 50 opinion of me, and he changes. And then also his opinion of you is going to go up because, yeah, there's going to be a -5 because of the conversion, but he's also not going to think you're a heretic anymore, an infidel, whatever you want to call it. And so there you go. So the first thing you're going to want to do, of course, is you want to get yourself a new imam. You do not need a Germanic guy anymore. And you're going to start just politicizing your capital. Now, choosing your capital is very important because you're going to be committed to it because you can't change it unless it's to the de jure area for 600 months, almost 600 months. Only the de jure areas. So, for example, I believe I can... Wait, no, which one's Algarve? Hold on a sec. Petty Kingdom of Algarve. De jure. This. Oh, yeah, it's here in the south. So, for example, yeah, Faro here in the Algarve case is the traditional capital. So, if what you might want to do is you could try to convert the culture here, but I just generally find that it's easier to change the religion. So we're going to have another cut here in a second, but let me just tell you what I'm going to be doing during this cut. Again, make several new vassals. This is just for the sake of conversion. And find yourselves some courtiers, ones who like you. Like this guy, for example. Okay, he's a Bedouin. You're going to want Norse people. Okay, like here, search my religion, men, not a ruler, my culture. Okay, they basically don't exist right now. So what you're going to have to do is get some sort of Norse Sunni Muslims, ideally, but just for the sake of demonstrating things, let me show you what my plan here was. We're going to be doing things like this courtier here. He's a Visigoth. Okay, check this out. Any culture, my religion. No, excuse me. My culture, any religion. So here's an example of something you can do. You could take this kid here, Marwan. Oh, fuck. I was trying to find people to give it. Look, the point is, what I was just going to say is that you're going to want to give individual counties to people. You have a pretty high vassal limit at the moment, so it's not going to be a problem, of course, creating all these new vassals as well, but maybe you want to hold on to the duchy that is around your capital, so Beja in this case, which I'm not going to be making because I want to make the kingdom. But You just make sure to give every single individual county to somebody who is Norse and Muslim, if possible, to help with turning over the culture and religion here. Anyway, so we're gonna cut, and I'm gonna come back when that's done. All right, so I'm just coming back in. As you can see, only a little bit of time has passed, and you just have to take. It just takes a little bit of patience, taking the time to make sure that you have Norse Muslims everywhere. You're gonna you're gonna sometimes have ones that are still Germanic pagans themselves, but you can usually take a risk on doing that because they're gonna have a good opinion of you if you granted them a county. It's at least gonna give you a plus 40, and you can do some other things. So, for example, I can sway this guy. I could give him some sort of honorary titles and just start working on getting him to 40 and then being able to religiously convert. So let's see, do I have any other pagans around? No, I think I did a lot of these guys that you're seeing here. I probably should have shown footage of it, but they were themselves. Also, don't give it to your son. You can't force your son to religiously convert. That was a mistake, giving him this county. But a lot of these people who I was able to give the top county holding to were Germanic pagans when I gave it to them, and then that boosts their opinion of me. Easy peasy lemon squeezy, force them to religiously convert. Well, you just ask it of them, you demand, and they say, okay, sure. Hey, I like you. Why not? Maybe you have a good head on your shoulders. So once you're here, you're administrating the interior of your realm, but for the most part, you're just waiting for your capital to turn. And you could, in the meantime, wait to see if one of the other counties converts as well. So, for example, I've already formed the kingdom of Badajoz, you've probably noticed, so my color changed. So I can move my capital if I want over here to Badajoz. You just have to sort of wait for it to happen. Right now, we're trying to administer the realm and stuff. I need to get some new marshals here, by the way. New marshals, new court imam, because I ended up giving him some land, so we're just going to drop him here. And then I'll see you guys in a second. And we're back. As you can see, it is still only 876, and if we go to the religious screen, you can see my capital. I did form Badajoz is now Sunni because it was Sunni earlier, and is of the Norse culture, which is already very quickly beginning to spread. And the thing with culture spread is that it tends to happen increasingly faster because of the idea of the concept of the counties that are bordering it increase the odds of a county converting. So, for example, Caceres here will probably convert to Norse culture very, very quickly. And there you have it. There's Badajoz, the Norse kingdom. And basically a very tiny playthrough of how to do Viking Ummah. Let me know what you guys thought about this format of a Let's Play / guide. It's my first time doing something like this. And let me know if you want to see me do this in the future or not. And in any case, please be sure to subscribe, because we're going to have another Heistin campaign coming up soon. That's going to be much bigger than this, more than just defeating the Umayyads and that. We're gonna be getting a little crazy in that Let's Play, and I'm super duper looking forward to it. So thank you for joining me. Oh yeah, by the way, I'm betrothed to an 8-year-old at the moment. Hey, gives me an alliance with the Egyptians, right? So why not, I guess. But thank you for joining me. I'm Conquering History Games. As I said before, subscribe if you haven't already, and click the bell so you're always notified about any new updates on the channel. Have a great one. Goodbye.